What is going on, Internet? I am Stevie Lewis, years of working in radio and with musicians and bands and record labels, and I decided to share some of my perspective on some of the music that you're probably familiar with and maybe a few tracks that you're not. I wanted to have this done before Mother's Day. Clearly that did not happen. The reason being is because this band gets called mom rock or minivan rock all the time, but they are far more than that, and we're going to take a look at a little bit of Lifehouse on today's episode of Soundtrack of Our Lives. So, there aren't too many records that I feel like you can put in and spin cover to cover, and every song on them is a fantastic song. Now, Lifehouse, No Name Face, their debut album, is one of those records, at least for me. Now, you might think these guys are one-hit wonders, but I'm here to tell you they are not, my friend. The first record, No Name Face, sold almost 3 million copies in the US alone. The second one didn't do so well. They did have a bit of a sophomore slump, but the preceding records that followed it all did pretty well and left some memorable tracks. But we're going to talk about this one. Most of the people know Lifehouse for Hanging by a Moment. That was their big up-tempo, kind of post-grunge fun song. And it was. It's lyrically catchy. It's still, if it comes on the radio today, you probably know it and maybe you sing along with it. It is one of the most played songs ever on the radio. It still gets spins, is what we call them in the business. It still gets spins today, and it is the poster child for minivan rock, but that doesn't make it not a good song. And this album is just filled with incredible lyrics and fun lyrics. In Hanging by a Moment, I'm standing here until you make me move. I'm hanging by a moment here with you. It's kind of like the, hey, you know what, I'm not giving up on this girl until she tells me, or guy, depending on what your thing is. But what I love about this record is there's a little something for everybody on it, and I like lyrics. I've always liked lyrics. I like songs that speak to me that I can apply to my life. And if you were going through something in the early 2000s, whether that be high school drama or college drama or life drama, there was probably something on this record that applied to your life at the time. I remember Breathing being one of the songs that they used during 9/11 when a lot of radio stations were doing montages. Breathing kind of found its way out there as one of those tracks, kind of around the same time as Enrique Iglesias' Hero and all that, but Lifehouse's Breathing found a home there, and I get it. The lyrics, I'm finding my way back to sanity again, don't know what I'm going to do when I get there, take a breath and hold on tight, spin around one more time, and gracefully fall back into the arms of grace. There's just every record on here just has something that kind of speaks to a moment in probably a younger person's life, or, now. And I also love the fact that they were considered the Smallville band, probably because I truly loved Smallville. If you don't know what Smallville is, maybe you've heard of it. It was a show that aired on the CW. It was basically they took Superman and put him back in high school and wouldn't let him fly. He didn't wear the costume, but he was kind of learning what it was like to be Superman and figure out what his powers were, and it was more a show about Clark Kent than Superman. But Lifehouse had songs on the Smallville show for many seasons, including the first one. Everything was the song at the end of the pilot episode, and it showed up in another episode as well, and it's just this beautiful, love ballad about just being absolutely enthralled with another person. The lyrics in the end are, and how can I stand here with you and not be moved by you? It's just a beautiful song, and it just has this, it starts out slow, and then it just hits this crescendo where it kind of kicks in, and it's just, I don't know. I like it. You might not, but it is what it is. But my overall favorite track on this record, out of all 12 of them, is a song called Simon. And Jason Wade, the lead singer of Lifehouse, wrote this song about this guy he went to school with, and he found out when they were talking later about how bad this guy's time in school was. He was constantly being bullied. He was constantly being treated like an outcast. He was constantly being picked on. And it just, when you listen to the lyrics, the weak will seek the weak until they've broken them. Bullying has just been this thing forever. And it's probably been compounded by the internet and social media now, but this was written at a time when that wasn't a thing yet. But there was still bullying. If you went to school and you didn't have the money for expensive clothes, you were most likely bullied. If you didn't look a certain way, you were bullied. If you didn't have the right set of friends, you were bullied. So all these things came into play, and this song just kind of brings that back. And I think everybody at one point in time in their life has had these feelings of being alone or isolation, and God knows it happens to me on a regular basis these days. But the lyrics just kind of are really just powerful. And it just kind of makes you think, and you kind of, I remember the first time I heard this song, I cried because it brought back a lot of personal memories, but I also started looking at news stories in the news, and I remember a kid that they bullied and beat up and killed. I believe it was in a Texas town or something like that, because he wasn't like the rest of the kids in his class, and this was pre-internet and all this, and it's just, you see all those stories. And this song just does a good job of summing it up. But the album in general is a good listen from cover to cover. I've met the guys in Lifehouse and hung out with them multiple times. They're all great dudes. I'm happy to see that they still do their thing even 20-something years later. And, Jason Wade does a lot of solo stuff now, more so than with the band. But the band had a pretty good run for the most part. They still found work throughout the years, which is tough to do. So I wouldn't consider them a one-hit wonder, but I would definitely consider No Name Face one of those signature albums of the early 2000s, and it's one of those that you can probably find something on it that you like or can relate to. Now, a lot of my rock heads are going to go, oh, this is like not even hard at all, man. It's not, but if you appreciate deep lyrics, maybe you find something that you like on it. But I would encourage you to take a trip back in the time machine and listen to some of these songs and think about a time when you were younger and had a lot of teen drama and a lot of teen angst, because that's what these songs do. They help create those moments that we love to relive again, and at least try to through 3 or 4 minutes of musical notes. So if you're looking for something to listen to, give No Name Face a spin. I think it still holds up 20-something years later and still has the same powerful effect that it might have had, or you might remember a person you haven't talked to in a while and pick up the phone and decide to call them. Either way, get to listening to that and stop watching me. Go spend time with people you like, love, or tolerate, because time is limited, so get out of here and be good.